Children. In last videos, I have explained the nutrition in plants, in green plants, or you can say the autotrophic nutrition. I, Sutapa Biswas, am going to explain today the heterotrophic nutrition. You have learned that nutrition is of mainly two types, autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. Most of the plants have green pigment called chlorophyll and can make their own food. They are called autotroph, and this type of nutrition is called autotrophic nutrition. But some plants, however, do not contain chlorophyll and hence cannot synthesize their food. They are called heterotrophs and depend for food on other organisms. So all animals and most of the animals and few plants cannot make their own food and depend for food on other organisms. Depending on their modes of obtaining food, all the heterotrophic plants can be divided into two main groups, parasites and saprophytes. Thus, just like animals, some plants have also heterotrophic modes of nutrition. We will now discuss the two types of plants called parasitic and saprophytes, which have heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Before explaining parasitic mode of nutrition and saprophytic nutrition, I am explaining here insectivorous plants. Some plants, although they are green, but they obtain their food from insects. Those green plants which obtain their food partly from insects are called insectivorous plants. Insectivorous plants are also known as carnivorous plants. The insectivorous plants grow only in those soils which do not contain sufficient nitrogen mineral. These insectivorous plants trap insects by various methods. They kill them, they digest them to obtain nitrogen compounds. Some common examples of the insectivorous plants are pitcher plant, sundew, Venus flytrap, and bladderwort. Here you can see pitcher plant with leaves are modified like pitcher. When insects sit inside it, the lid is closed and then some enzymes are secreted by the leaves, and here the insect is digested. In this way the plant get nutrients. So you see that insectivorous plants are green and carry out photosynthesis also to obtain part of the food required by them. But they do not get the nitrogen as they grow in the soil which is lack of nitrogen. So, insectivorous plants feed on insects to obtain the nitrogen compounds needed for their growth. We can now say that the insectivorous plants are partial heterotrophs because they get some food by photosynthesis and some by eating insects. Some non-green plants which obtain their food from dead and decaying organic matter are called saprotrophs or saprophytes. And this type of mode of nutrition this mode of nutrition is called saprophytic nutrition. The non-green plants called fungi derive their food from dead and decaying organic matter. So fungi are saprophytes. Some of the common fungi are mushroom, braid, mold and yeast. As they have no chlorophyll, they cannot make their own food with the process of photosynthesis. So they get their nutrients by absorbing their nutrients from dead and decaying matter. We can see in hot and humid weather That means in rainy season, some fungi go on pickles, leather, object and clothes, and they spoil these things. Sometimes our food also spoil due to the fungus. But there are some useful fungi also. Some fungus which are useful are mushrooms and yeast. Mushrooms are used as food in many areas, and yeast is used as um, in the food to produce alcohol. Some fungi are also used for making medicine. For example, the penicillium fungus is used to make an antibiotic called penicillin. This is parasitic nutrition or parasitism. The definition of parasitism is organisms which obtain organic compounds from another living organism of a different species is called parasites, and this type of nutrition is called parasitic nutrition. Here parasite is benefited but host is harmed. So now I am going to describe it. A plant which lives on or inside another organism, living organism, which is called host and derives the food from it, it is called parasite. Those non-green plants which obtain their food from the living bodies of other plants are called plant parasites. The living organisms from whose body food is obtained is called host of the parasite. Here host is harmed by the parasite as the most of the nutrients are taken by the parasites. The parasite plants climb on the host plants from which they get all the food. A parasitic plant produces certain special type of roots which penetrate into the host plants. The parasite sucks the food materials from the host through these special roots. One example of parasitic plant is Kaskuta. It is called Amarbel in Hindi. This plant we can see in the picture as a yellow tubular structure twining around the stem and branches of a tree. In this way, parasitic plants take all the nutrients from the host body. In this slide, we will learn about the relationship, that is symbiotic relationship. The condition where two different organisms live together and help each other to survive is called symbiotic relationship. The living together of two different species of plant as if they are parts of the same plant and help each other in obtaining food is called symbiosis. In this relationship, two organisms or two plants live together and both are benefited by each other. One example of the symbiotic relationships we can see in lichen, and the another is between rhizobium bacteria and leguminous plants. At first, we will learn about the lichen. In lichen, the green colored plant called alga, which is autotroph. That means they can make their own food with the help of photosynthesis. And non-green plant, fungus, that is saprophyte, which take nutrients from the dead and decaying matter, live together. The fungus hold the alga cells and give them shelter and also absorb minerals and water from the surroundings and supplies them to alga. The alga plant, being green, prepares the food by the help of photosynthesis and share it with fungus. Thus, you can see that both alga and fungus gain mutually from one another by living together. So, this is an example of symbiosis. Now, coming to the next example, symbiotic relationship between Rhizobium bacteria and leguminous plants. What is Rhizobium bacteria? A bacteria which live in the root nodules of leguminous plant. That means all pulses such as gram, peas, beans, etc. Rhizobium bacteria convert nitrogenous gas of air into water-soluble nitrogen compounds called nitrates and give them to the leguminous plants for their growth. In return, leguminous plants give food and shelter to Rhizobium bacteria. Thus, Rhizobium bacteria and leguminous plants have a symbiotic relationship. Here, both gain from each other. So, this is called symbiotic relationship. Hope you have understood this relationship. This slide says us how nutrients are replenished in the soil. So, you can see when the crop plants are grown in the same fields again and again, soil becomes deficient in plant nutrients. What are the plant nutrients? Like nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, etc. Due to this, the plant nutrients need to be added from time to time to enrich the soil and restore its fertility. So, there are some methods to restore the fertility or to replenish the nutrients in the soil. The plant nutrients are replenished in the soil in mainly two ways. First way is nutrients are replenished in the soil by adding fertilizers and manures. Do you know what is the difference between fertilizers and manures? Fertilizers are man-made. They are the nitrogenous, phosphorus and potassium based. And manures are made from the dead and decaying substance, organic substance, which is more useful and they are biodegradable. So we should use manure. The crop plants grown in the fields require nitrogen in maximum amount to make the protein. And they also need another nutrients also, just like potassium, phosphorus. So some example of fertilizers is NPK and urea. NPK fertilizers, as the name, it provides nitrogen, N for nitrogen, P for phosphorus and K for potassium. Okay, and manure, you can make compost from the dead and decaying parts of leaves and animals, and this is called manure, which is organic in nature and are biodegradable. So it is more useful than the fertilizer. And another example, how the soil is, how the nutrients are replenished in the soil. One more thing is by growing the leguminous crops. Once I have discussed in symbiotic relationships, how leguminous plants and bacteria live in symbiotic relationship, and the bacteria known as rhizobium, what they do, they convert the atmospheric nitrogen into water soluble nitrogen compounds, nitrates, and which is absorbed by the leguminous plants which grow in those soil which lack of nitrogen. And in this way, the replenishment of nitrogen is done by the leguminous plant. So we should do crop rotation. That means between two cereal crop, we should grow one leguminous crop. That means दलहन जाति के पौधे. That means pulses, some pulses, grams, beans, or peas. Okay. Okay, children. Here are some important questions. You have to do by yourself. All the topics have been discussed. So I think you will be able to give the answers of this question. Thank you.